Alex, we're
Welcome,
back.
everybody. Thanks so much for
stop it.
joining us on the 2-on-1 podcast. I'm your host, Mike
No, you're not.
Swags. Take
You're
it over.
yes, you've taken over. He's broken the formula. How dare Mike's here. Hi, Mike. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. Thanks for coming in and just iceberg. I love how, for anyone who's not watching the video, you have like the green screen effect for Zoom and you have the Aurora Borealis on, but sometimes when you're taking a drink of your water, the water bottle is like disappearing and it's becoming a part of the Aurora Borealis. This looks so strange. It looks like it's censored like a dirty movie. Anyway, should be too careful about that voice ad, never forget.
Yep.
I gotta ask the question first before we get into the show. How much does it cost, Mike? What's this episode cost? University of Toronto, as you put it to me yesterday.
One big rule is that financials can't be discussed while it's happening.
Okay, can I make a request?
Yes.
Can we split it between UFT and TMU?
I think if it's up
fair?
to you, TMU should take all of it, but
I'm just trying to be fair.
yeah.
I saw I can't say her last name, Emma Cuzzle or something. I saw her today at Rouge Hill Station. I had on my TMU sweater.
Yeah.
And we just had like a discussion about the name change, as one does as you go to TMU. But anyway.
I have a TMU sweater.
Well, yeah, well, good. And you have the pants too, don't you?
No, I just have the sweater and it was a gift. I would never buy it.
Really?
I would never buy a TMU sweater. I got it as a birthday gift.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay, well,
who got it for you as a birthday?
Oh God,
birthday
stop.
gift.
You what?
Who got it for you as a birthday gift? I'm actually curious.
My other friend Alex.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that
better Alex in my life.
Oh
no, Alex met Alex at my cottage.
Oh, okay. No, okay. No, fair. I'll take second place on that one.
Okay, you know what they say. First the worst, second the best. Anyway, okay. So Mike is here, which means either a few things, either to do with the Rangers or, more importantly, it is the third annual 2-on-1.
It's Alex's last episode, and I'm actually here because it's his great goodbye.
Daniel, by the way, had some stuff come up last minute, so he can't make it. So, but Mike was going to come on anyway because it's a tradition. I'm pretty sure this was your idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was my way of inviting me onto your show. That's
fair enough, and it's worked.
Yeah,
like how you jackhammered your way into our lives. Anyway, so the 2-on-1 podcast off-season tier list is here. I just want to make some things clear before we get going here. Some rules to it. First off, we will be discussing it as we go, but basically, this is an episode I recommend watching the YouTube version, but you don't have to. So here's how it's going to go. This is us rating and putting into a tier list every team's off-season. We're not ranking them on their competitive level. Tampa and Colorado, for example, we may put them in step back, but they're still playoff contenders. Now, we have our second highest category is called Fabulous, a quote from one of our professors. Basically, all the teams that have great off seasons we're going to put there. And at the end of the episode, we will vote for our champion of the off season. Our first ever tier list, Montreal won it. Damn. And last year it was New Jersey. Mike, the noted New Jersey hater, the New York City guy, actually had the deciding vote, fun enough. We're not going to mention every addition for every team. I don't care about Steven Lawrence going to, I think, San Jose it was. Like, no one cares. Of the remaining UFAs, we had to hold off because of the Kadri stuff. But of the remaining UFAs, I don't think Tyler Pitlick or PK Subban are going to affect a team's ranking today. RFAs, the only difference maker left. That
statement is pretty biffy by you.
What do you mean?
The fact that you said that second part of the statement there is pretty shocking.
What, that PK is not going to affect the ranking of a team today?
Yes.
Well, I mean, he's a depth defenseman now. This is how it is. Anyway.
Disrespect.
And if we look at the remaining RFAs, the only difference maker is Jason Robertson. But he's not going to get traded. He's going to be part of the Stars, and everyone and their mother has pointed out a long-term deal doesn't look like it's going to work there. So we can guess it's probably going to be 3 years in the AAV, maybe anywhere from $7 to $9 million. Plus, the Stars are the same as they were last year, but we can talk about stuff like Mason Marchment and that when we get to Dallas. Yes. So I'm going to get the tier list up here. because we have a fun little thing going on. I think this is how I do it. So Alex and Mike, tell me, you can see the tier list, but not the Google stuff I have up, right?
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. This is going to work.
What Google stuff?
Exactly. Perfect.
Like my exactly. Okay, so you'll see the tier list from highest to lowest. We have the champions of the offseason, Fabulous, Dr. Gary Gould, great guy. Step Forward, Status Quo, Step Back, and we changed the name of our worst category every year. First it was Dumpster Fire, then it was just a disaster. This year we have the list. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, the lads, we play a lot of NHL together. I hate it, but we play it. A lot of verses against each other too. And I don't like playing the game, and I'm not good at it. And Mike continuously beats me at it. So what I put together is something called the list. The list for me is a list of players that have let me down and I have sort of deemed not worthy to play for my teams. These are the following people on the list. Connor McDavid.
List.
Yeah. Connor McDavid, Evgeny Malkin, Tyler Seguin, John Tavares, William Nylander, Mitch Marner, Noah Hannafin, Colin Parayko, Thomas Chabot, Muzzin, Trouba, McAvoy, Adam Larson, Mike Sullivan and Sheldon Keefe, don't ask, Sarah Fillier, because we play the women's series, Mike Smith, Marc-Andre Fleury, Jordan Binnington again, Andre Vasilevsky again, Matt Murray, Jacob Markstrom, UC Saros, Andrew Hammond, don't ask, Eric Shalgren, don't ask, Sergei Bobrovsky, and I think I don't remember if I said Jack Campbell, but yeah, a lot of goalies have let me down, and I just wanted to mention. So what I've done today is the list is our ultimate worst category you can be in because it means so much to me. If anyone's curious, by the way, that is 7 defensemen, a lot of goalies, 2 coaches. If I get 6 more forwards, I have a full team of the list, and they're basically all stars. Okay, gentlemen.
Okay, I have a question about this list before we even start.
Yes.
Just to clear something up.
Yes.
Okay, so when we're talking about a team like Arizona, Buffalo, Montreal, and we're talking about the massive amount of prospects they have, are we taking into account their development, or we are not taking into account their development?
Just off-season stuff.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that compared to like stuff like the
So
only
draft,
team, for example,
free agency.
yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Drafting. Remember, I thought we made a rule of no drafting.
We're not doing drafting.
So I have notes for the draft.
Because I remember, we can't. Because you can't. I remember we did that before. Because you can't give it.
Yeah.
So I have made an exception.
On their lap.
Oh, sorry, Mike, you cut out there. I've made an exception for 2 teams because I think it helps the offseason for Seattle that Shane Wright fell into their laps.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
And the Canadians sort of having the first overall pick. I'm at least going to mention Slafkovsky because I feel like, yeah, sure. I mean, I like Wright more than Slafkovsky, but we can do that anyway. But I don't think it's going to be a massive thing. Those are the only 2 teams that I really had it for.
Fair.
Anyway, we can start with the Anaheim Ducks. How's it looking? John Klingberg and John Klingberg. Yeah, he is there. Crap, I forgot. That's weird. As well as Frank Vetrano, Mike's favorite former Ranger. Ryan Strome goes there as well. They were pretty barren towards the end of last year after the trade deadline. They've sort of brought in some guys they're maybe going to get either sent off for draft picks or sort of help shelter younger players. Where have the Ducks gone in this offseason, guys?
I'm honestly leaning towards status quo. Like I don't necessarily think they brought in anyone of substance. I think there's going to be a lot of their progress is going to be in the guys they already have in McTavish, in Drysdale, and in Trevor Zegras. I don't think they yes, they brought in John Klingberg, but also remember the 2 guys that they lost last year in Josh Manson and in Hampus Lindholm, right? So you had to make up for that at some point, and I think they were able to do that. And then bringing in Ryan Strome and Frank Vetrano are 2 guys who I think will be helpful for sure in providing depth, but the young guys are the ones to look out for.
Okay, Mike, any disagreements with that?
No, I agree. I mean, I was going to reference that it's a very similar. If you didn't know, I like the New York Rangers, and it's very similar, which we'll get into later, in the sense that their offseason was more just kind of replacing talent lost. Like Ryan Strome you bring in because Getzlaff retired. Vetrano you bring in for extra, depth scoring because, Milano is no longer there. And then, Klingberg, Kulikov's there, right?
Yep.
Kulikov's around there. Yeah,
Yep.
Kulikov, they're brought in for Lindholm and Manson. It's literally just kind of replace and bank, like the stride that they take in their offseason is based on the potential of their young forwards, their young stars, like that, and Drysdale and whatnot. Like that's what it is. So I think status quo is fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's the Ducks are just sort of, listen, we know what Klingberg's getting traded at the deadline. Like we know what's going on with the Ducks. I don't think of them any worse or less after their offseason. So now we go to the Arizona Coyotes. Now, Lawson Krause gets extended. They do lose Phil the Thrill. This is tough. They're going to be bad, but I just don't know if they're worse, especially because Jacob Chikrin is still there. However, I feel like it would be wrong to not include the fact that they're not playing in an NHL arena next year. So I definitely don't. I'm stuck with the Coyotes because I don't think you can put them higher than status quo, but
No, definitely
it's
not.
the Coyotes. You know what I mean?
Like I was really ready to put them on the list because of the fact that, you're playing in a college arena. You're an embarrassment. Like you are a literal embarrassment of a franchise. But but that's the thing. I mean, outside of the whole arena thing, they've gotten worse as a team. All they've gotten is Zach Kassian and got rid of Phil Kessel.
And Patrick
And-
Nemeth.
And Troy Stetcher, come on.
And they trade for Patrick Nemeth. So they're pretty much the same team, if not worse. And they're going to end in the bottom. They're going to suck. But I don't know if you want to call that a step forward in the sense that they're doing exactly what they want to do. They want to challenge for a high pick. It's how they got Logan Cooley. It's how they are a prime contender for Connor Bedard.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you say a step back because they're garbage and play in a college arena?
It's weird because there is a team I want to get to where I refuse to put them anywhere but the list later because there is a moral thing there. And last year, remember, we put the Blackhawks and we put the Canadians in the bottom category because of the Logan Mailloux stuff and everything to do with the Blackhawks. But it's like, at the same time, the Coyotes at the bottom of the standings in the lottery every year, and their arena situation is up in the air. Is there anything more status quo than the Coyotes? Because that's what they always are. You know what I mean? I don't think anything is a wrong answer here with the Coyotes, but it's just they're just so they're so consistently crap.
Like
as Gordon Ramsay would say.
To me, they're status quo, but the thing is the arena, right? And like if we're taking that into consideration, I got to put them in step back. Like it's just tough.
I got to put them in step back because being in a college arena, being in college facilities, you're already hockey in Arizona. You're not getting any free agents. You're not attracting anybody. And now you're playing in a college arena
for 4 years or 3 or 4 years. Like it's not this isn't a 1 year thing. I feel like no one ever mentions that this is a 3 to whatever year project until they can get a new arena. And it's like, oh my God, like the novelty that people talk about, and like, sure, like if you said, let's go to Arizona and watch a hockey game in Arizona, I'm sure I'd say yes, because like when do you have the chance to go watch a game in front, like in a 5,000 seat capacity when it's not
across the street to a
AHL?
college bar,
right? And you can do that, but like I think that novelty wears off.
Yeah.
When you realize you're watching NHL players.
I'm cool with step back.
Okay.
I'm cool with step back. It's just, and they're a lot less likable because they don't have Phil Kessel. It's just, the Coyotes, I almost want to make a tier, but at the same time, it's going to slow us down. And I don't want to, but I do. So we're just going to step back is fine. So Anaheim status quo, Arizona step back.
Yep.
Now we head to the Boston Bruins. Bruce Cassidy is gone, but they bring in Jim Montgomery. There, everyone's happy to see him get another chance. It looks like he sort of sorted out his off-ice issues. David Krejci is back with Patrice Bergeron. They do swap Eric Howell for Pavel Zacha, which is a downgrade. But with David Krejci coming back, listen, again, this is not competitive level. The Bruins are going to be rough to start the year because of all their injuries. I would like to say that they did take a step forward because they got David Krejci back. Like as simple as that. To be honest with me, I think it helps their lineup so much. At least in my opinion. What was the big problem with the Bruins? They needed a center, and they got David Krejci back.
They needed a second line center, and they got it. Like it's a step forward.
After needing to get him a winger for a decade, they finally got him one, and he went back to Czechia because I think he's Czech. And then
they gave him 25 games of Taylor Hall, and then he's like, "This is good, but like I miss, but COVID sucks." And then so any objections to the Bruins step forward?
I call him status quo, to tell you the truth.
Really?
I mean, injuries aside, because you can't blame that on them, they're still hilariously bad at depth. Like, okay, you have David Krejci, but David Krejci also hasn't played in the NHL for a year. It's going to take him some time to get his NHL wheels back, even though he didn't have wheels to begin with in the NHL. He's just really good positionally. Yeah. But, I mean, Eric Halla, he isn't great, don't get me wrong. But Pavel Zacha is a downgrade. Pavel Zacha has not reached remotely close to the potential that New Jersey drafted him with, and that's why they cast him away for nothing in the first place. And like, I mean, say what you want about Bruce Cassidy, but Jim Montgomery, like, I don't know. I think honestly they're in the same boat, minus the fact that they're in way over their head with injury trouble. But that's not something you can blame them for. I'd say status quo, really. Like, sure, you addressed your second line center, but I honestly aim to believe that David Krejci is not going to have a good year.
Alex, you have a deciding vote here. Where are you going to go?
Like I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm leaning more towards step forward, like for more than that, like more than just David Krejci. I mean, they kept Hampus Lindholm, and I feel like they've been looking for someone to play next to Charlie McAvoy since who was it? Chara he played with, right? Since Chara left, and they finally were able to get that. And I think that was such a big, in my opinion, that was a big hole for them, and they filled it with a guy who I very much value.
All right, so
respectable.
So Mike, unfortunately, you have been outvoted. This is you've been voted off. I'm not off the island, but the Bruins a step forward. I can't believe a call full of Rangers, Habs, and Leafs fans have just complimented the Bruins. Now we go to the Buffalo Sabres. So Tage Thompson does get his extension. Now Colin Miller will butcher our out, and coming in are Eric Comrie, because who is playing in net in Buffalo, and Ilya Lyubushkin. I mean, to me, Buffalo are so status quo. I mean, it's fine, but like they didn't do anything ground shaking to me.
Well, I think they knew that they're in that division. It's like, your changes are going to come. Your changes are going to come with drafting and development. Your changes aren't going to be made tangible by going out there and making big signings, because you're just not primed and ready for that. So I think status quo.
And they've tried that before. No, I was just saying they tried that before with big signings, and that
they got Jeff Skinner.
And if we can go back further. They made some not great ones back then too.
Yeah, Christian Ehrhoff, I'm pretty sure. Was that them? Were they the ones who gave Ehrhoff that? Okay, so status quo Buffalo, but you're on your way. Congratulations. Okay, the Calgary Flames outgo Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk. In come Jonathan Huberdeau, who gets his extension, Mackenzie Weegar, Nazem Kadri, and on a PTO today, Sonny Milano. I think it's very difficult to not put them in fabulous and not put them in the position where they are right now, the pole position to be champions of the offseason. I mean, the work that Brad Treliving has done. I mean, if he went into Dragon's Den back in the day and he presented that plan to his father, he'd be getting his deal no matter what he wanted. Investment equity would be great right now. I am very confident in wanting to put the Flames into fabulous. Any objections?
No, not at all. Like I think people when they look at what happened in Calgary, I think sometimes they forget the added bonus of Mackenzie Weegar. I think, yes, we always talk about Okay, you took out you took out Goudreau and Kachuk, and you put in Kadri and Huberdeau. And yeah, okay, maybe that's what we would consider status quo. But then you added Mackenzie Weegar to that, and that's automatically them a step forward. But I just think you have to just look at what they did and what they can do next year. Then adding Sonny Milano too, like that's going to be a very interesting team. I think that fight for first place in the Pacific's going to be quite interesting.
Yeah, that part I don't even think is going to come close. But I think with Calgary, yeah, I'm already putting them in fabulous. I can put them in pole position. I mean, look, I think Florida overpaid a lot for Tkachuk. I'll say it. I get he's way younger, but the fact that they immediately extend Huberdeau and then can most likely – did they already extend Weegar? I forgot.
Not yet.
They're working on it. They're working on that.
It.
They're really working on that, yeah. Not to mention, sneaky thing is that, they unloaded Eric Branson finally. They no longer – so there you go. Slot that in with how much money they can save. Whatchamacallit? And, sure, they lose Calle Yarncroc for depth, but, Kevin Rooney, man. Don't sleep on Runes. But, yeah, I think you can't put them – you can't not put them where they are, given the fact that they would have been on the list immediately had they not overcome what they did. Had Brad Treliving not turned water into wine here, like that, it's insane the fact that he pulled this off without a shred of leverage. So
exactly. Yeah.
Yes, okay. I have them up there.
Fair enough. The Carolina Hurricanes have had a lot of bodies moving around this offseason. Tony DeAngelo was gone. Nino Niederreiter, Vincent Trocheck, Ian Cole. You think I forget about Ian Cole? No. But coming in and basically for scraps altogether, they add Paul Stastny, Max Pacioretty, Brent Burns, Dylan Coghlan, and Ondrej Kase. I really like the Canes. I really do. Now, listen, it doesn't help that, all of a sudden, oh, hey, Pacioretty's like gone for most of the regular season. I don't quite know if I want to put them in fabulous, but I think they've definitely taken a step forward, which is always insane to see the Canes getting a step better.
Well, I feel like every year we talk about the Canes, or it's been like this for the last few years, where the issue is they can't score, or they can score, but they've had trouble scoring. They don't have the depth scoring. And I think if you look at some of the pieces they especially added up front, and even in one guy in particular in the back, I think they got that. Ondrej Kase, if healthy, can score 20 goals. Max Pacioretty can score in the regular season. We all know that. I mean, Adam, I got to throw that one out there. And then you have a guy like Brent Burns on there again, who you can either put next to Jacob Slavin, or, I mean, if you want, get nuts, put him next to Brett Pesce, and we're just having an absolute ball back there. So I think they addressed their biggest the biggest problem they've had over the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm keeping them at status quo.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, look, sure, they acquire Paul Stastny and Max Pacioretty, but that was used in the fact that, again, they were replacing. You need lost by Vinny Trocheck. Brent Burns, he's honestly a taller, I can't even say more defensively sound. Sure, he might put up a few more points, but he's just a bigger Tony DeAngelo, I feel like. Mm-hmm. Adding Kase, that helps, I guess, especially when it comes to the loss of Nino Niederreiter. But, they're going to have, this is a team that, for starters, is going to rely, for example, on Jesperi Kotkaniemi to take a step to make up for the fact that they lost a guy like Max Domi and Niederreiter. And
come on, don't do that.
I mean it, man. I it helps a lot that they get, sure, Pacioretty is great and all, but that he is one of the most oft injured players in the NHL, and that's exactly what happened. And, you can't blame them for the injury. I get that, but it's, again, he's brought in because of the fact that you lose Trocheck, and it just really, it seems to me like it's not that different.
He's brought in because you can get him for pennies on the dollar, like literally.
Yeah, okay, I understand
on the dollar, and you're the only team with salary.
The actual
cap
move
space.
itself was a genius idea. Don't get me wrong, they did phenomenally well in the trade, but as a team going into this year, I'd still say they're still the number one team in the Metro.
Yeah.
By configuring things around, not by actually propelling forward. I mean, they still have.
That's where
they
I
still
disagree.
have. They still have completely shaky goaltending. And
okay, fine, fair. Like,
yeah, they have shaky goaltending. Isn't you could have
You have
honestly,
shaky.
You could have
you
worked.
have
Okay, no, you could have worked on getting a. I don't have any names for it, but you could have gotten a better goalie than Antti Ranta, because Antti Ranta is a good goalie, but he's a pain of glass,
Yeah,
and
but
it would have been good. Okay, yeah, Freddie. Okay, but then what happened in the playoffs? Freddie went down and Ranta went down. Like, it'd be play to have somebody that isn't a pane of glass as a backup goalie. Don't get me wrong, he's good. He was a Ranger. He's good as a Ranger, but you know, this may be my Metro rivalry there. I'm still giving them the respect that they deserve. They're still the number one team in the Metro. I just don't think it's like necessarily a massive jump.
no, but I look at the team they had last year, and then I look at the team they have this year. Fine, they're not fabulous, but to me, they're a step forward. Like, I can't. I don't think they're the same team as they were last year. I think they're a better team who can score more. To me,
Okay, fair enough.
and that's what their issue has been. Yeah, they have shaky goaltending, but that was their issue last year.
The one thing that puts Carolina in step forward too for me, and sorry to disagree with you again here, Mike, is I think you both are forgetting the addition of Mr. Dylan Coughlin. I think he's the most underrated piece they've added. And, you know, I just think added to that defense, it's just another little sweet little nugget. So
Sure.
just put them in step forward. And yeah, they weren't sensational, but I like what they did regardless. Now we get to move on to it's gonna be fun to talk about this team.
The list.
What are you saying?
The
They
deep
do
bottom
bring
of the list.
They do bring in Luke Richardson as head coach. Happy for him. In Max Domi, Petr Mrazek, Colin Blackwell, out. Kevin Lankinen, Kirby Doc, Dominic Kubalik, Dylan Strome, Alex DeBrincat, and maybe Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves. I'm gonna put them in the list so quickly here. They just look awful. And let us not forget, during last regular season, and I have not forgotten about this, they had an owner who basically went out in their town hall and said, we're not talking about Kyle Beach anymore.
Sometimes.
And Kyle Davidson being all messy and leaking talks at the trade deadline. I just listen, I like the move for them to go get Frank Nazar at the draft, but it's still not enough for me. I think they're in the list, and I'm going to quickly let Carrie out because she's being nippy.
Yeah, I mean, I can't.
I think the biggest thing.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, I think the biggest thing is that, like, I get what they're doing. They're tearing it all down so that they can get Connor Bedard or a high draft pick and actually start a rebuild, because Lord knows they tried starting a rebuild a couple of years ago, and then they're like, anyways, they're going to get Seth Jones, or a year ago. But the thing is that, you know, I understand, because the Coyotes have been doing that same strategy for years. That's why they suck. But they got nothing for it. Like, they tore everything down, but got nothing for it. I mean, they traded Alex DeBrincat for pennies on the dollar.
But did they? Wait.
Single one. They didn't get a single one of the of Ottawa's cupboard of prospects for Alex DeBrincat.
But they got 7th overall. Like, I know it's first round pick, but they got 7th overall. That's my issue with that. Like, listen, they're in the list. I'm not even going to argue that. But like,
Very good.
With that trade in particular, I think they got fair value. I don't think they screwed anybody, and I think they definitely could have screwed a lot of other teams. But I don't agree with that. They got pennies on the dollar for Alex DeBrincat when they got 7th overall. Now, if they picked a prospect that doesn't work out, that's Chicago's problem. But they got 7th overall for Alex DeBrincat.
You know what they should have gotten instead of 7th overall? Ridley Greig,
Like,
the savior, according to Sen's Twitter.
Honestly, the thing, look, I didn't really follow too much of the draft this year because I was busy. That's whatever it turns out with Kevin Kurchinski, but I still think they should have been able to get a decent prospect for a guy like Alex DeBrincat. And even aside from that, because we can agree to disagree.
Yep.
You mean to tell me that you're just going to get a late first round, because that late first round does not matter at all. And you mean to tell me that late first round pick swap is all you could squeeze out of Toronto to get to take on Peter Mrazek? Like, no, I don't. No, I mean, they belong on the list, obviously, but like, that's a big reason right there. That's what I mean. They're not getting any value for just tanking. Like,
right.
they could have gotten a pretty good penny. I think they honestly could have gotten a pretty darn good penny for Patrick Kane this summer. And if I was the Blackhawks, I honestly would have traded him. And that honestly probably could have helped them just go to a step back as opposed to the list. But they didn't. And, oh, wait, sorry. Not to mention that, okay, you're that bad, and I get you're embracing the rebuild, but you're not even gonna send a qualifying offer to Kubalik or Strome. Like,
yes. Oh my God. I completely forgot.
You're not even gonna extend a qualifying offer to those guys. Like, okay, sure, you add Andreas Athanasiou and Max Domi, but you don't even send a qualifying offer to those guys.
Athanasiou. The worst part is, I know they would try to trade Dylan Strome and Clay didn't get the value, but if you had simply maybe given him a chance under Luke Richardson, he could have tried to rebuild his value. And then you let Kubalik just walk for nothing to Detroit. Wait a minute, remind me. P.S. Suter, wasn't he in Chicago too?
Yes.
He was, and now he's a Red Wing.
Off season, Chicago just let this quality, nice little player, Kubalik's going to be good on the power play, just walk over to Detroit. I hate that. I hate that so much.
I mean, like, it's just, I don't understand what they're expecting. And, you just completely just ruined your rookie coach's first year behind the bench. Like, I'm giving them list, no doubt about it.
Okay. The Colorado Avalanche, a few changes here. Well, first off, it seems like a Nathan McKinnon extension is incoming. Joe Sakic gets a promotion, and now it clears the way for Chris McFarland to be the new GM. Lekin and Nikushkin get extensions each. Alexander Georgiev comes in to replace Darcy Kemper in net. On top of this, Nazem Kadri is now gone. Andrei Burakovsky is now gone. I really want to put them step back, and I don't think enough people are talking about that.
No. Yeah. They're step back.
I'm not even
respectfully, of course. Like, I mean,
yes, of course, they're going to win the division probably.
They're still Stanley Cup contenders. Like, that's listen. Like, I'm not debate. I will never debate that right now. But they've definitely taken a step back from last year and the guys that they've lost.
I mean, it's like you lose Darcy. Like, it's not their fault that they're subject to the cup tax. So there you go. You lose Darcy Kemper and you lose Andrei Burakovsky and you replace him with Evan Rodriguez. And I mean, there were some good signings, Lehkonen, Cogliano. I'm actually shocked that they managed to extend Manson. So that's pretty good for them.
About that, yeah.
But the biggest thing is that, despite how shaky he was and despite the fact that he was playing with one eye, Darcy Kemper is a starting goalie. And the gamble now is that, we're in this day and age where teams got to get creative because there's only a handful of teams that actually have a bona fide starter in this league anymore. And it's going to be an interesting experiment. Georgiev, that's the thing. Sure, trading for him wasn't that expensive. But the thing is, he's shaky. I think they definitely take a step back in goaltending because, Francouz, now you got to see if he can handle at least twice what his normal workload was. Mm-hmm. And Georgiev, not to mention that people often forget, this guy sucked to start the year with the Rangers. He absolutely stunk so bad that he didn't even have any value to trade at the trade deadline. And then after the trade deadline, he miraculously woke up and had like a 45-50 save shutout against Carolina and then actually played well. But, That's what they're gambling on. I definitely think they take a step back. Again, that's no disrespect to them because, again, it's the team with Joe Sakic at the helm, leading guys like McKinnon, Landeskog, Rantanen, Makar. They took a step back respectfully.
Yeah,
You could put an asterisk next to them. Respectfully step back.
Yeah.
and still have Nathan McKinnon and Cale McCarr. It's like, you think you're going to be fine. Putting them next to Arizona just looks weird. The Columbus Blue Jackets. Cap casualty is Oliver Bjorkstrand, but that sort of helps them get Johnny Gaudreau, as well as an extension to Patrick Laine. And Eric Branson too. Yeah, and big boy. I put them a step forward. They needed superstar talent, and they got a pretty good one, Johnny Gaudreau. Well, regular season talent, of course. I don't think that they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they took a step.
I'm kind of in between Fabulous and step forward.
Okay.
Because of the fact that, look, the biggest problem is that they couldn't get anybody to commit. They couldn't get anybody to commit to Columbus. They couldn't get Seth Jones to commit. Okay, yes, they got Werenski.
But they had to overpay him.
Yeah, they had to overpay him. They couldn't Werenski. Lord knows Shane, Panarin, and Bobrovsky on 1 year. Nobody wants to go and stay and play in Columbus, and no free agents or attractive free agents are signing there until now. And one thing that players do is talk, and they hang out, and they chill, and then they become teammates. And the fact that Johnny Gaudreau, who had more money and more years on the table with with Calgary, and had all the incentive in the world to go to a team like New Jersey or something, chose Columbus. To me, that just speaks on how much, I think it's unsung how much you talk about the culture change in the fact that they do that, and then they extend Patty Laine, and that they get rid of Tortorella because I think his voice is worn out in that room. I think it's phenomenal. I mean, granted, yes, they made an interesting defense signing there, but I don't think it can be overlooked how much the impact is that now you can finally get a star forward. Like, you finally actually lure a star forward over. And I think that makes a enormous difference. Again, I'm on the fence between Fabulous and step forward, but I think they have had one of the most not unsung, but definitely one of the biggest victories in the offseason because of that.
Alex?
Mike's convinced me. I put them in Fabulous. I think you look at Johnny Gaudreau, obviously bringing him in. You're talking about a guy who had a 100+ point season last year. Yes, okay, we can talk about his playoff discrepancies, and I'm sure next time Will is on, we will have those discussions.
Yep.
But I think what they've been keeping Patrick Laine, which was probably their biggest question before they signed Johnny Gaudreau. I think they're solid in net, especially in Elvis Merzlikins. Like we were talking about guys, teams with players who can be a starter. I think he's one of them. I just think overall around they've improved. Yeah, we can talk about Eric Branson, but again, if he's playing bottom pairing minutes, it's quite a bit of money, but sometimes you got to make that sacrifice a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And one last thing I think too is that it shows that they continue to keep I'm going to continue to give their front office an A+ grade for their philosophy and ideology, in the sense that they're committed to what they're doing. They have lost so many players and they have lost so much talent that does not want to stay there, and yet they're sticking the course. And it shows that they're committed to their players. They're committed to their system because they know that it's not necessarily the hottest market, but they're like, you know what, we can make that work. And because of that, I think they will contend in a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Some would say they have A+ vision.
And
Yeah,
there we go.
There you go.
The Dallas Stars.
Good
Oh boy. Shout out to the 1-year extension for Jim Nill. Pete DeBoer is the new coach. Oh boy. Mason Marchment comes in to try and help replace John Klingberg. It's Colin Miller and the project that is Will Butcher. I hate the Stars. I hate them so much.
Why?
I don't think they got worse, but they didn't. They didn't get better. I hate them so status quo. Feels like we always have Dallas and status quo. They're just one of those franchises. I don't.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Are the Dallas Stars what we've been describing the Minnesota Wild for the last few years?
Boring.
Like
and
in like
mediocre.
pre
Pre-Kaprizov.
Kaprizov,
Yeah.
pre
I'm
Bill
fine.
Guerin. They're the pre Bill Guerin Minnesota Wild.
Yep. Yep. But any objections to status quo?
No, I think it's fair. I mean, I'm skeptical when it comes to Mason Marchment because, Mason Marchment was really good in a small sample size. The offset of John Klingberg filling with Colin Miller and Will Butcher, I'm not sure about that, but you know what? They shedded cap space this summer. They're figuring things out. I'm keeping them at status quo.
Okay, good. I'm happy we don't have to spend too much time on the Dallas Stars. Detroit bringing a new head coach of Tarek Lalonde. Sorry. Hey, Daniel. And they bring in a few guys in the offseason. Ville Husso, David Perron, Andrew Kopp, Kubalik, and Ben Sherrod.
And analytics darling Mark Pysyk.
And Mark Pysyk. I don't want to put them in fabulous because Ben Sherrod. But I definitely think the Wings have taken a big step forward.
I'm putting them fabulous all the way. I think what they've done is phenomenal.
Is it because of Andrew Kopp?
No, it's not because of Andrew Kopp, even though that's massive. But look at what they've done. They've gone slow and steady the last few years after, making it known that we're going to go through this rebuild. They finally got rid of Blashill, who is just a nightmare. And they David Perron and Andrew Kopp are top 6 talents. And not to mention that we live in a game where you need to have a good goalie tandem.
Yeah.
They have really shored that up with Ville Husso. And, Ben Sherrod's Ben Sherrod. Sure, his value is going to just keep dragging down and down. For the foreseeable future, it's not going to be that awful. He can't be as bad as he was with Montreal. And Mark Pysyk, analytics darling, I always say that. I think honestly, and I keep forgetting that they added Dominic Kubalik. I think this was just such a massive step in how their rebuild has been going well. Everybody has kept saying the same thing. Oh, the Red Wings suck, but they're just getting better and better and better. This was their impact. This was their statement year. That's okay, now we're taking a next step, and I think they nailed it. So. Yeah. I'm giving them fabulous
because they had $1 bajillion in cap space.
Exactly,
literally, and they used it.
And they still have the money.
Sorry, say that, Adam. What did you say?
The deciding vote.
Oh man,
because they got better. I think we can.
They did. No, yeah. It's between step forward or fabulous. I'm gonna put them.
Oh wait, sorry. One thing too is that I completely forgot is that Derek Lalonde. I was trying to think. I was like, wait, who did they actually get over Jeff Blashill? Derek Lalonde, who's a Stanley Cup winning assistant coach. That's massive. Not to mention that they have veteran talent in that team. It's just no doubt in my mind that they're fabulous.
Okay. Alex is really putting thought into this. Looks like what's that famous? I think it's a famous sculpture of a guy thinking. I don't know. What it says.
Oh yeah,
the thinker. Yeah, the deep thinker.
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with status quo.
What?
Not status quo. Sorry, fabulous. I was looking. I was staring. No, I'm staring. No, sorry. I'm staring dead at status quo, and I'm like, status quo. No, fabulous.
I've been outvoted. I cannot. God, I have made my feelings about Benjamin Sherratt so clear, and I'll just keep going. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm putting the Oilers on the list. Now let's just talk about this for a second.
That part.
When we get to Jake Buchanan, they do upgrade in goal. Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen, they're both
a low
gone.
bar.
Yeah, Matthias Janmark comes in as well. Jack Campbell comes in. Stuart Skinner will be his partner in net. But Now let's just put it like this. So Jake Virtanen has gotten a PTO. For anyone who doesn't know, he was charged for one count of sexual assault. A jury found him not guilty. Whatever you say about that, I just found this tweet. If we can just look at the hockey side for a second here, that really gets to me here. This is from Scott Wheeler. When you sign the KHL's 167th leading scorer, you just got to do it. That's all I have to say. I was gonna put them around status quo or step forward, but I can't morally do that. I can't.
I don't get it.
He's not even
Like-
good. The side. Yeah, it's like ignoring everything off the ice. He's not good.
Like, okay, let's take a look at their forward core. Who is he replacing? Like, okay, fine, Jesse Puljujarvi, because all of Edmonton media want him gone.
Did you see the Spectre tweet?
Of course I did.
Oh my god!
I don't get it. Am I like?
Is he your new Zach Cassian? Is that power forward, even though he doesn't play like one? Canucks fans scream about the guy. Like I can't do it. And this isn't part of it. McDavid's response to the Hockey Canada stuff, I just look at the Oilers and I'm just thinking, you're just gross. And not in like the good way. Like, you just make me sick right now. That's how I feel with the Oilers. I'm so sick of them.
Like, other than what they've done in net, I'm not entirely sure what their off season was.
I'm gonna give them the list, and mostly because like I'm staying away from that whole thing with Jake Virtanen. It's more so the fact that he sucks. He sucks, and the optics of signing him when he sucks is just like, what are you doing? What do you expect? Or I mean, PTO, sure. Interchange deal.
Say that again. Sorry.
Again,
You cut out. You cut out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Say it from the list from the beginning.
Oh no.
Okay.
I'm staying away from the whole thing with Virtanen. I get it, but it's more so. It's just the. Oh shit.
No.
You guys
Start.
hear me?
Yeah. But start your list
great.
from the beginning. Start your list from the beginning.
Got a
So,
sense of that part.
I got the Virtanen. We got the Virtanen stuff. It was when you said I'm going to give you the list, and then you started.
Oh. What list? Okay.
I don't know.
Virtanen, terrible signing.
Makes
Optics
no
just
sense.
because he sucks. You know, they had a nice extension to Kane,
Mhm.
which should help, but you know, it's Jack Campbell. He's a mental midget. He sucks.
I don't know if we can say that.
I just did because he can win you 3 games in a row and do excellent, and then he'll have one bad game and he'll be so in his head that he just like sucks for like 10 games after that.
But I don't think that's
It's
what
a mental
happened.
game.
I don't think that's what happened in Toronto.
Wait.
No. I will explain
Yeah, it
what
was.
happened. That's not what happened in Toronto. Well,
I mean, you are
because
a Leaf fan.
I know for a fact you watch absolutely 0 games. Now, on this podcast, I have said on multiple occasions, and Adam can back me up on that, Jack Campbell is massively overrated by this fan base. He is no more than a good goaltender. He is not a great goaltender. He's nothing beyond that. He's a good goaltender. Respectfully, good goaltender.
Okay.
He had a good month in November and then in December, COVID, injured, played through an injury, was out for a month and a half, and then came back and was good again. It wasn't like, okay, we could talk about once again, surprise, documentary skewing massive perceptions, but like watch Formula One, like massive perception skewed of multiple characters. But I don't think the mental side of it really had much to do. I think his comments that he made after games were massively blown out of proportion, as is everything that comes out of this damn city. But I don't think the mental stuff had anything to do with his performance in Toronto. I think there's legitimate reasons. Again, they got better in goal. Edmonton got better in goaltending.
Okay, yeah, because the bar was so
Was so low. Do I think again? Do you trust Jack Campbell to play 50 games, and do you trust Stuart Skinner to play 32? But I don't think the mental stuff has much to do with. I think that was massively blown out of proportion in this city. To be frank,
let's be.
I agree. Markham is blowing it out of the waters. Home of Jordan Binnington. Oh, that's Richmond Hill, isn't it? Never mind.
Yeah, don't put don't put that disrespect on Markham like that. That's that.
I also think
we have Steven Stamkos. Okay,
that's true.
I think he's still going to face the same workload because it's still a team that honestly has he's going back to a team that has Cody Ceci on D, for Christ's sake. That shows you that they're not a good team on D. I think he's going to get peppered. Sure, McDavid and Draisaitl can score a zillion goals because they're nasty, but I think because of that, honestly, their goaltending, sure, it's an upgrade, but it's really not going to make that much of a difference in the long run. And they signed Jake Virtanen, which is just stupid. So,
gentlemen,
yeah,
I will point out we are about a third way through the league, and we have been going for
good lord
50 minutes. So we might.
So we're going.
We might want to. I'm not saying we rush things now, but I am saying maybe we. But we can all say the Oilers are on the list, right? Like they are. This is, by the way, the second straight year the Blackhawks have been at the bottom tier. Okay, the Florida Panthers hire Paul Maurice. Tkachuk is in. So is Chris Tierney, who I didn't realize. Colin White. Out goes Marchment, some depth guys, Uyghur and Hubert. And I will remind everyone, because it's my obligation, they do not own their first round pick for, probably for the rest of King Charles's reign. And this year belongs to Montreal. So I respectfully, I have them in a step back. I don't think you can, again, the Panthers look at the Tkachuk thing as a long-term move. But I think for this off season alone, I think they've simply taken a step back. This isn't the thing of, it's respectful, not to the level of the Avs because the Avs are the champs, but more than the Coyotes.
I'm not giving the Panthers any respect because you guys were embarrassing in the second round. You get no respect. Bomber, if you're listening to this, no respect. I don't care. You guys went out 4 games to the Lightning after it was supposed to be a rematch of one of the bloodiest series the year before. No. I will give them a respectfully, yes, you're still a good team on paper, asterisk, but I will not give them respect. You guys lost so poorly. But yes, they did take a step back. I mean, I get it because, I get you're exactly right that Tkachuk is an investment for the future. But, I mean, you're praying that Colin White, Mark Stahl, and Nick Cousins are going to help you.
And Eric. Eric signed a PTO, don't forget.
And you lost Jumbo Joe Thornton. So,
yeah. The funniest thing I think to me with the Winnipeg Jets is they bring in Paul Maurice and they don't get better defensively.
They get Florida Panthers?
Yeah. What did I say?
You said Winnipeg Jets. And I was going to say, I can't stand Paul Maurice. He's not
Florida
good.
Panthers. The Florida Panthers brought in Paul Maurice and didn't get better defensively. In fact, they traded away one of their better defensemen. Huh?
So step back.
Yes. Yeah. They're not the list. It's hard to put them on the list. They're step back.
They lost Ben Sherrod. I've gone coast to coast with Ben Sherrod. That's pretty that sucks.
All right. Okay. If this was, a podcast I care about greatly, I would be going and playing Pokemon right now after that remark. The LA Kings, Kevin Fiala comes in. Yeah, they lose Mata, Athanasi, Stetcher, but they're going to have younger players sort of filling those roles. You look at some of the young D they've just extended recently. They're going to take bigger roles. With Fiala, I'm confident in saying the Kings are taking a step forward, but I think a lot of that is more internal. But Fiala, enough for me, is a step forward because I feel like they needed another big gun on the wing. I also hate the Wild now, so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you said it again. It's the same kind of if they didn't get Fiala, they'd be status quo all the way. But the thing is, they needed a guy like Kevin Fiala, and yeah, I think that alone, that signing alone, the fact that they spent that kind of dough to to trade and then sign him, I think, that's just another step forward in their rebuild. They're not contenders yet, even though they did make the playoffs, but it is enough for a step forward.
I would like to point out that this is the last year of Dion Phaneuf's buyout.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just had to put that out. Put that out in the world.
Well, next year they're champions.
Where do you put them, Alex?
I put them step forward as well.
Okay, very good. Go on the Kings. Except Bergevin sucks, and how dare you take Jack Hughes in the draft? You bastards. Wow, Mike just disappeared into the Borealis for a second there. That was spooky. Invisible Man style. The Minnesota Wild. They re-signed.
Why do you hate them?
I had so much faith in the playoffs and they let me down. So I'm sick of them.
Also, he doesn't like Marc-Andre Fleury. So
No. Hold on a minute.
Hold
on a minute.
Come on.
Like him as a person.
Yeah.
However,
I meant the hockey player.
I think it was a mistake to start him against the Blues, and I maintain that to this day. So basically, Philip Gustafson is replacing Cam Talbot as Marc-Andre Fleury's partner. They lose Kevin Fiala. Again, they're relying a lot on cheap guys they signed in the offseason and young players like Boldy, Ross, and that. I have them. I think they took a step back. They got weaker in goal. They lost one of their key offensive contributors. There maybe is a bit of disdain here for the Wild. I'm just really mad at them. Really mad at the Wild. I think they re-signed John Merrill. Why?
For 3 years.
John Merrill.
For 3 years. I'd go with step back too. I just don't. I feel like I'm missing something with the Minnesota Wild. But they are what they are at the moment. I don't think they're anything less or more than a step back.
Which feels like the old Minnesota Wild, except they have one really fun player.
Right.
Mike, any disagreements?
I think, adding Sam Steele is a good depth signing, and that's about it. You're right. Like, Kevin Fiala is gone. Cam Talbot is gone. And they took a step back.
All right. Perfect. It's that easy. Step back. There you go, Minnesota.
Although, again, I'm pretty impressed that they managed to pick up Sam Steele. That's pretty good. Despite the fact that he may be implicated in a certain scandal. I mean, the fact that they got him for pennies on the dollar is pretty. The
Montreal Canadiens. So Alexander Romanov and Jeff Petrie are gone. So is Shea Weber's contract. In come Kirby Dach, Evgeny Dadonov, guess who? Mike Matheson, Sean Monahan, and of course the first overall pick Uri Slavkovsky. I think they took a step forward because
status quo for me.
Sorry?
Status quo for me, but go ahead.
Hey, I don't mind the debate. I mean, like, are they going to be better than last? Yeah, by virtue of the fact they're not going to be stuck with Dom Ducharme for half the year. I mean, that enough. It's just, I like the offseason. It's just, again, I don't think they were fabulous as they were when we first started this tier list, but I think they have come a long way from the dumpster that they were last offseason. Again, I'm up for the debate.
Like, I want to put them step forward. Like, I like the two guys up front that they brought in, other than Slavkovsky. I'm talking more about Evgeny Dadonov and Kirby Dach. I just think a guy in Dadonov, that's the guy you're probably going to trade come the deadline to a team that
yummy second rounder
to a team that he actually wants to go to this time. And then Kirby Dach, again, this is a guy 21 you'll take your bets on. Mm-hmm. Again, like, I don't think they improved or didn't, like, I don't think they got worse or better defensively or in net. I think they're the same as what they were last year. They didn't make any like do anything crazy, right? So hard to argue that. So I'll go step forward mainly because of what they did up front and the moves they can still make.
Go ahead, Mike. What is your status quo?
I think their status quo because, I feel like they paid high on Matheson. It was a steep price for Jeff Petrie, obviously, even though he was out. It was going to happen. But, it's nice to have Dadonov and Dach, which I feel kind of cancels that out. Slavkovsky, however that turns out this year, sure, I guess it is the first overall pick, but I mean, I don't really see enough that it's much more than like the same status that the Montreal Canadiens have been in the last year. So I don't think they moved the needle enough. But if you guys really do, I understand.
You know what? Because I've been against you all day. And listen, if it's status quo, it's a better chance of Connor Bedard. I'll take your status quo, Mike. I don't mind. Even though I hate the fact I put them next to the Stars, we're going to move the Stars over and put Buffalo next to Montreal. Ooh,
yes, much respectable Buffalo.
Oh, but then they're above Minnesota. We'll just move the Avs over here and put them next to a good team. There we go.
Oh my God.
Positioned properly. Okay. There you go, Montreal. Love you. Shout out to Philip Mazar, who looked amazing at the rookie tournament from highlights, because I'm not going to watch a rookie tournament game. The Nashville Predators. Now, they lost Mr. Not So Many Big Saves Dave. Luke Kunin. Sorry about that. They do bring in Kevin Lakin into the new backup. Zach Stanford, whatever. But Nino Niederreiter and Ryan McDonough. I think they had a very nice offseason. I'm not going to say fabulous. I'm not going to say that. But I think they took a step. I don't think they're going to get swept by the Avs next year. I think they can win a few games.
I'll give them a step. I wanted to laugh at last episode about how you were talking about Nashville, and then and they'll be able to ride off their momentum. And Alex goes, their momentum of getting swept.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, it's just
go ahead.
I know. I was going to say, and when they win 3 games against Colorado next year, John Hines will be the coach of the year, because that's all it takes. That's all it takes when John Cooper's in the league, apparently.
Yeah.
Look, that's the thing. John Hines still has a job, which to me is just unacceptable, because I cannot stand him as a coach. And I just don't like. I just feel like Nashville is not even like, you know what, they're gonna be good in their division. I feel like people are really overrating and saturating that. But at the same time, you can't deny the fact that they added Niederreiter to an affordable contract. They added Ryan McDonough to an organization that honestly I think utilizes defensemen better than anyone. Mm-hmm. And not to mention that they locked up Forsberg long term. That's all huge. I think the losses of like Nick Cousins and Matt Benning, like that, they'll live. I think they'll live. And Kevin Langenen's he showed he was pretty good in Chicago before. I think he can rekindle that. And I mean, like, look at how low the bar was from make no saves Dave. Like, listen, I think they definitely improved.
Give Saros time to rest on the back-to-back. That's all you need to do.
Exactly. Literally.
Alex, where you got him?
Step forward.
Okay, cool. Easy. The New Jersey Devils spend a lot of money in the offseason for, it feels like, the 3rd straight year. Another offseason, pretty busy. Andrew Burnett is basically waiting for Lindy Ruff to get fired. John Marino is in. Eric Howla is in for Pavel Zacha. Mackenzie Blackwood will be pushed by Vitek Vanacek. And Andre Palat gets the big deal. See, I don't know with the goddamn Devils anymore. Their goaltending's not better. I don't know if they're going to score a few more goals. Yeah, sure. I am so sick of the Devils. I just take a goddamn step. Please. You have done nothing for 3 years now. I thought Lamoriello was gone. Do something. Go ahead.
They're still paying the recapture penalty for Ilya Kovalchuk. What are you going to do?
Oh, God. When we get to San Jose, they're getting off scot-free with something too. The California teams are getting off with some bull jive. But yeah, where do you guys have them? I don't care about the Devils.
Look, let me begin by starting with I was going to give them step forward. Because of the fact that, it's a pretty big bet to bet on Blackwood and Vanacek to be, just looking at the roster, to solidify that goaltending. But, Plot been the core part of a championship team for a long time. John Marino is an upgrade over Ty Smith on defense, and especially because they poached him, John Marino, from the Penguins. I mean, sure, they got Petrie, but whatever. And they signed Jesper Bratt to a pretty team friendly deal. And I'm a fan of Jonas Siegenthaler. I think getting him on a long-term contract for some depth defense is pretty good. That all merits step forward. But then they all go back to status quo for the fact that I definitely believe that they were totally up there and they did not get Johnny Gaudreau. Johnny Gaudreau wanted to go home. If he didn't want to go to Columbus of all teams, that in itself, that miss, especially when they can't get any stars and no one wants to play in dirty New Jersey. Like, that in itself brings them back to status quo for me.
Well,
Alex,
they went from trying to get Johnny Gaudreau to, like, let's call it how it is. Andre Palat's not a New Jersey Devil if Johnny Gaudreau's a New Jersey Devil. I think it's as simple as that. No. I think they got their plan B, and I think
they would have been a much better team if they got Johnny.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Like, I'm gonna go with status quo as well, and I'm gonna say, because I think the thing for me was their goaltending, where, okay, they brought in Vitek Vanacek, who's an upgrade, but you have such a big question mark on Mackenzie Blackwood in terms of his health. I'm not talking about the vaccine. I'm talking about his literal health, his injuries, that
guys with glass pain.
Right. Like, it's you need someone who can play more than the 40 games he's allotted to. I don't know if Vanacek's that guy.
Yeah, no, he's not. He's not. Okay, good. I moved it more around. Like, I moved the Kings over so Deneau's closer to Montreal. Calgary Bergeron over because yeah, sure. God damn it, yeah. And then Calgary, so Toffoli's a little closer to home too. We miss you. The Islanders. Lane Lambert's the coach now. They acquired and extended Alexander Romanov. See, here's what's weird. I was thinking about this the other day. I don't think Romanov's going to get a real chance to take a bigger role in that defense. And I don't know if I like that for his development.
He's not.
Noah Dobson gets the extension and nothing else really. Just some dudes they just kind of signed. I mean, they didn't get worse, but man, they did. If there was a negative status quo, it's the Islanders.
Yeah. They're teetering on step back because they did nothing and all their guys got a year older.
Exactly. But also the fact that you no longer, like, okay, I don't know anything really about Lane Lambert, but it's Barry Trotz that you just lost. And I understand that, you can pin however much you want on him, but at the end of the day, he brought a team that can't score to the conference finals 2 years in a row. Like, I got respect for that guy. And I understand it's hard because he wants a role in management and stuff like that. But again, they didn't do anything. How many reports said it's basically set in stone that Nazem Kadri is a New York Islander? Or it's basically set in stone that Johnny Gaudreau will be a New York Islander? Like, all that just to, sure, Romano's going to be good. But just like you said, I think he'll get a shot to be the big dog in that system, barring injuries. Dobson, Pelech, Pulak, like, I don't see it.
Yeah.
I'll give him negative status quo. You're right.
It's if they could go anywhere else, it's not next to Montreal, next to New Jersey. Here they are, the New York.
Both smell bad.
Vincent Trocheck replaces Dylan Strome. Georgiev is replaced by Yaro Halak. A lot of departures are really guys they got from the trade deadline. Braun, Vetrano, Kopp. The return of Jimmy Vesey on the PTO. And Vitaly Kravtsov, of course. It is a new season. You know what that means? Another Rangers prospect wants out. Spin the wheel. This time it is Nils Lundkvist. Come on down. Mike, where do you put your New York Rangers?
Wow. Wait a second. That was so harsh.
Am I wrong? Where's the lie?
No. I'll give him a status quo because I think honestly they're the same team that they're going into last year, like going into the season last year. And again, it's the same thing that I mentioned with a bunch of these teams. They replaced to bank on potential. They're banking on potential that, you're finally going to get that big step from Lafreniere. You're expecting something from Kakko, and Keandre Miller is looking greater and greater and greater. And, I am worried about Trocheck because Trocheck, he's not Ryan Strome, even though Ryan Strome sucked at Edmonton, but he revived his career in New York. And, one thing I am happy about is that they finally shored up, like I said, it was extremely painful to watch Alexander Georgiev play hockey in the first half of that season. And I trust Yarrow Halak more. And another thing is that I think, sure, there's no, Vetrano's gone, but those guys made a big step. Philip Hedl, he's going to be that third line center. That kid line is gone because Lafreniere is probably going to be on the top line, I won't lie. But I have belief in Kravtsov. I really think he's going to make it work this year. And at worst, he's a pretty decent trade chip. I knew this was going to happen with Nils Lundkvist because, look, the D's just shored up. Like, it was just going to happen. It's more unfortunate to me that it came to the point that he had to request a trade and management didn't already trade him beforehand because of the optics of it, because management knows. They're like, okay, Braden Schneider's good, like really good, and Zach Jones will probably take that left side. So it's like, just move him now before he wants to trade out, even though he knows he's never going to get a shot. So I compare him a lot to a Sandin kind of situation. I think they're pretty similar comparables, mind you, but I think this team is a status quo to me. I don't think they got any better. I don't think they necessarily got worse.
Mm-hmm.
I'd agree with that. I do prefer Vincent Trocheck over Ryan Strome, though. That's just me.
Respectable.
That's just me. But again,
I'm just trying not to get my expectations up because I don't want to get hurt.
I can't wait, by the way, for Nils Lundkvist to get traded for Jan Mysak. By the way.
Yeah, but have you ever heard of his brother Lick?
I don't know, Lick Mysak. Oh, legendary tweet. Oh, just legendary stuff. Yeah, I'm fine with that for the Rangers. I mean, they have the core, Captain Trouba, and guess what? They have Shesterkin, who is it's Shesterkin. So I can't disagree with that, Mike. I can't disagree with that. I think they're going to be in there. I don't think they're going to win the Metro, but they're going to be there. That's all you need.
They're going to be fighting for it.
Oh, yeah. I'll put you next to Montreal. I don't want the Ducks on the other side. There's no one else in status quo I really like, so we'll keep the Rangers next to Montreal on the list. Okay. I mean, the Sens are fabulous. Aren't they? Okay, so
do we even have to explain why?
Yeah,
Matt
they would have been my
out.
immediate champion.
So
they were what? Wait, say that again.
They were I was literally ready immediately to put them champion if they had gone out and gotten Jacob Chychrun. But other than that, they are they're in fabulous, no doubt in my mind.
So the Sens have moved out Matt Murray. They have moved out Connor Brown. Chris Tierney is gone. However, they bring in Cam Talbot. They bring in Claude Giroux, Alex DeBrincat, Josh Norris, and Tim Stützle get extensions. I mean, I had them as DJ Smith to be my coach of the year, and I had Pierre Dorian up there as my GM of the year last episode. Alex, where are you going to put this?
Fabulous.
Okay, good. Very good.
Status quo, actually.
All right. They're even getting an arena, hopefully. I mean, so as
it's going to be great. It's going to be great to watch Senators playoff hockey next year. So excited.
That first round with the Leafs, what's going to happen. I cannot wait. So right now, for anyone wondering, our 4 contenders for champion of the offseason: the Sens, the Flames, Detroit, and Columbus. One of them should not be there because they signed Ben Sherratt. The Philadelphia Flyers.
Get over yourself.
Oh, okay.
God. Okay, so first
Where
off,
do we start?
Bad news. Sean Couturier may not play this year. Was it a herniated disc? And I think Chuck Fletcher said something as we were recording. I haven't seen it yet. So that's
herniated disc.
So,
but list, all the way list. Just list.
They miss out on they miss out on Johnny Gaudreau. They trade Oscar Lindblom, which was just gross. They bring in Tony D. They bring in Nick Delorier, and then they bring in John Tortorella, which is funny. But and then he comes, he's like, "We got a problem in the room here."
So I think we have to provide some added context to the Johnny Gaudreau stuff, because it's not that they missed out on Johnny Gaudreau. It's they didn't have the money to sign Johnny Gaudreau. He was ready. He wanted to be there.
And instead of getting rid of a guy that can't skate like James Van Riemsdyk, good old Chucky boy was just like, I don't want to do anything.
Like, if I'm being completely honest, I actually don't mind the John Tortorella. Like, now, if you looking at it, because someone's got to give him a kick in the ass. Like, listen, I'm not the biggest fan of John Tortorella. Like, I don't necessarily agree with half the things he says on ESPN.
Yep.
But someone's got to give that team a kick in the ass. And like, is there any other coach available who could do that? Because Rod Brindamore is currently in Carolina.
Like, I love Torts. I love him. I think he's hilarious. But I mean, it's bad when the question is asked all over social media. Oh, I wonder how Tony DeAngelo and John Tortorella are going to get along. You know, if that is the biggest thing that people are looking at when they're talking about this team, you know that you're in trouble. Yeah. Like, it's just like, oh my goodness. But like, look, terrible forward depth, questionable, and like, I mean, a team that actively employs Rasmus Ristolainen, questionable and often injured. Look at Ryan Ellis, defense, and completely inconsistent goaltending. Yeah, no, they're so on the list.
So I also have them on the list. Alex, where do you put them?
The list.
So I want to say I like Tortorella, the person, the animal rescue stuff. As a coach, don't know anymore. They listen, the goaltending thing. I just want to say this: Fedotov was out of their control, but was Fedotov your answer to help Carter Hart? I feel like you should have done more with that. Now we go to their rivals, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Besides bringing in Jan Rutta, they get some legacy extensions done with Letang and Malkin. They do swap John Marino for Ty Smith, and then they swap also Mike Matheson for Jeff Petrie, and they extend Mike Sullivan. I think they're the same. And they extend Brian Rustu. It's just depends who depends.
And Raquel,
Raquel, yeah.
Raquel, yeah.
But they're respectfully the same.
Yeah. Again.
Okay.
They're respectfully keeping the window open. That's about it.
There we go. The halves between the Rangers and the Penguins. You love to see it. Okay. Oh, God, the Sharks. Oh, goodness great. Okay. So the Sharks settle with Evander Kane. What is it, like $2.5 million? They don't get any penalty for it. Listen, I don't like Evander Kane. I've made that very clear on this podcast. The fact that they're just getting away with it is kind of lame. Anyway, they have a new uniform.
It's so NHL.
I know it is. So they have a new uniform, which is nice. I'll give them that.
Their pants suck.
So the pants should be black. I'll give you that. So David Quinn is the coach. Mike Greer has done what? They get rid of Brent Burns for whatever. They bring in lots of depth guys. Sturm, Lindblom, Nudavara, Benning. Where is the vision with the San Jose Sharks? Where are we?
I'll tell you right now, if they got Dave Quinn, I'd usually put them on the list immediately, but I will continue later.
It's just like they're with the Islanders. They're a negative status quo.
Really? I would put them. I'd say they're a step back.
I'd say step back.
Okay.
I mean,
sure.
Like, look at this. I mean, it's hard because of the fact that they have the probable Norris winner. Don't get me wrong, but but look, they don't have a player on the team. They have like 2 or 3 players on that team that scored over 40 points, and they're old, and their defense is led now by
one-legged
Erik Karlsson and Marc-Edouard Vlasic. And Kaapo Kähkönen should be a bit of a bright spot in net, but yeah, I think they took a step back.
Like, to Adam, to go back to your point about vision, I just think the next few years are going to be so painful that it's just going to be step back after step back after step back, because you just need to get through some of these painful years with Karlsson, with Vlasic, and it's not going to be fun. Like, you know how San Jose is the team where we always say they need to be competitive because that's just what the market wants. Like, if they're not competitive, you have no idea how the market's going to react. Mm-hmm. I think they're now realizing that they can't not be. They have to not be competitive for at least a few years.
Yep.
And so that I think it's a respectable step back, but it's going to be an ugly one.
The Seattle Kraken, I will mention Shane Wright falls into their lap. Andre Burakovsky comes in. They rob Columbus of Oliver Bjorkstrand. Justin Schultz comes in. Martin Jones, because who was the goalie that played in the Worlds and got hurt? Is hurt.
Grubauer.
Not Grubauer, no.
Drieger?
Drieger. No, wasn't Drieger got hurt in the
Drieger.
gold medal game? Remember? I think it's Drieger's hurt.
He played at the World Championship.
Just Drieger. It was Drieger.
Yes.
Yeah, it was Drieger.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Jones is there to fill the gap, and Michael Kempny comes in. I'm not ready to say they've had a fabulous offseason, but I think they're the kings of the step forwards for me, at least. I like their offseason a lot.
Okay. I don't know if I'd put them as the kings of step forward, but I put them in step forward.
I'll give him a step forward.
Okay, good. Very good. It's that easy. And also
Right on their lap. They're okay.
So you cut out for us there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say step forward. I mean, it's not anything. And say again, they're betting on potential. I mean, Shane Wright fell in their lap, and now because of that, they have development to bet on, and they're 1-2 punch. So good for them. I think they're fabulous, but good for them.
Yeah. The Blues, they do lose David Perron. They do lose Ville Husso. They bring in some depth guys, and they do extend Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou. I don't know with the Blues because I don't trust Binnington. I don't trust him. Where do you guys see St. Louis?
Mike?
I think they took a step back.
Yeah.
They took a step back?
Yes.
Perron was a big loss.
Yes.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
And
Fair.
Husso.
That's a good point. Okay. Step back. I agree.
Their younger guys are going to get
Look,
better,
they lost-
obviously, but it's like, who's making the saves?
Look, okay, it's good that they signed Kyrou and
Oh God, Mike, you're cutting out.
and they're
You're
still.
Just
How about now?
It's somewhat better. Yeah, just say that whole thing again.
Okay, like it's nice that they re-signed Robert Thomas and Kyrou, but they kept the inferior goalie, which I truly wholeheartedly believe that, and they signed Nick Legge.
Yeah,
Overpaid Nick Legge.
Yeah.
And not to mention that the future is still very, you're still looking into a very cloudy future when you're thinking of what are you doing with Tarasenko. So,
and you know who else is a free agent? Ryan O'Reilly is coming.
oh yeah, his year is coming up.
So, yeah.
I
Players
do.
not- go
Sorry,
ahead.
I know it has nothing to do with St. Louis, but let's finish St. Louis and then I'll bring it up.
Step back.
Step back.
Okay.
I do have. Funny
Yep.
enough, we were talking about this guy earlier. We have a trade.
Ooh, wait, scale of 1 to 10.
Oh, 5? I don't know. It
Okay,
depends on how you look at
let's
this
hear
guy.
Let's
We were talking about him earlier. Niels Lundqvist has been traded. Can you guys guess where? Don't look at your phone.
I'm not. Oh,
Mike-
I hope
Mike,
it's Montreal, but I don't think
don't
it is.
look at your phone.
My phone hasn't got off, so it's not Montreal. Who needs a D?
Oh
Ottawa?
my God, you gotta be kidding me.
Don't say it, Mike.
Okay, yeah, who?
No. Guess. One more.
I'll say Ottawa
No,
or
That-
Detroit.
no, Dallas.
Ah,
No,
ah.
I don't see. I don't think the return is out, but it just says he's been traded.
Mhm.
Oh, that's not fair.
No.
Oh, from Shayna,
Shayna
what's her
Goldman.
last? Goldman, right?
Yeah.
He's very, I like her writing a lot. So I'm so sorry I forgot your name. Why did I think Baszler, not the MMA fighter? Oh, that's so lame. Oh, I wanted Lunkers really badly. Oh, that's awful.
I wanted lick my sack really badly too.
Okay. All right. You win. You win. Okay. The Tampa Bay Lightning. Let's look at them. I think they took a step back. Like they yes, they
Respectfully took a step back.
Yeah, like
Hey,
they extend
hey.
Cirelli, Sergachev, Cernak. They do lose Ryan McDonough. They do lose Andre Palat. They do bring in Phil Myers, the return of the king, Vladislav Nemestikov, and Ian Cole. Never forget Ian Cole.
In goal.
Ian Cole.
And never forget they have Zach Bogosian, so
they're
automatically.
good.
step
But, I mean,
forward.
they took.
Did you say they're doomed?
I think the biggest thing too is that you already know kind of when you're going to put a team in the step back category immediately when they make that trade for like pennies on the dollar. Like you will see with a team that seems to do that a lot coming up. But when you see that they get literally nothing for Ryan McDonough, sure, it means that they had to sign some people, but at the end of the day, they lost somebody for nothing. And yeah.
And there we are.
Step
okay,
back.
So step back. Okay, with respect, Tampa. I moved them over because I didn't want them under Montreal.
Fair.
Disgusting. Okay. Okay, I've been looking forward to this. Okay.
Me too.
This is I'm gonna be a spectator to a 5-round rumble here. Okay, the Toronto Maple Leafs. So the bottom 6 in goaltending tandem has really been revamped. Guys like in Nikolai Aube-Kubel and Kalle Jarnkrok are in. Kasha Mikheyev are gone. Campbell and Mrazek are toast. In comes Matt Murray and Ilya Samsonov. Well, gentlemen, I am just going to
Where do you have them?
just quickly edit my notes. I'm just going to quickly just roll my back. I'll let you know where I have them, but first I'd like to hear you two. So the floor is yours, and I'm just going to sit back on my chair and let this happen.
Okay, who's going first?
I want to put them in the list.
Okay. For what reason?
Because of the fact that no team has more riding on them to win. And then their immediate desperate response is to pick up 2 of the worst gambles. Look, it's a good gamble on Samsonov.
Agreed.
There's
I agree on
there's potential there. And I said it too. I said it when they signed Murray that it's right that they should it'd be good for them if they took a gander at Samsonov. But the thing is, like, they're rolling them out as a tandem. They're rolling out one of, like, literally the bottom tandem of the league this year, but they're not, because they're paying Matt Murray starter money. Any team that actively employs Matt Murray with starter money, to me, is already at the bottom. And, it's nice to get Kalle Jarnkrok to shore up the depth. You couldn't have seen it. It's nice that you didn't overpay for a guy like Ilya Mikheyev. And not to mention that the Mark Giordano's definitely up there, at least for underpaid player in the league. But it's just, it all comes down to the fact that goaltending situation is just haunting. And I think
Yeah, sorry, keep going.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just okay. If I'm looking at this list, the off-season tier list, they definitely took a step back. They're not status quo. To me, they're a step back, and I'll explain why. I don't think, based off of what I saw last season, their goaltending got a whole lot worse, considering what they played and what was in front of them or what was behind them. You had an injured Jack Campbell for multiple months. You had Peter Mrazek playing. God help me. I never want to see that again. They had garbage goaltending for the majority of the season, and they still finished. Like, okay, they came in second in their division, but they had how many points? Like, they set a record, right? Like, and again, I don't think they're going to do that again next year unless Matthews can score 60 goals. Like, again, I wouldn't put it past him, but again, that's a huge if. I don't think their defense got any better.
But I also don't like. I think that it's one of the most 360 moves to pay. And again, we talked about it. It wasn't that much, but at the end of the day, it is a sweetener. I'm getting to that.
Well,
It's a
we'll get there.
360 move in the fact that they had to include a first rounder to be a sweetener to get rid of Peter Mrazek.
Well, they
And then
drop
to
back.
use that,
Wait. They drop back 7 spots.
you put to Matt Murray. Yeah, I'm saying,
wait.
but the fact is that they're going
What
from
do you mean
Peter
to?
Mrazek to Matt Murray.
Wait. What do you mean? They didn't use, what did they use to get Matt Murray?
I think what Mike means is they cleared
cleared
the
out.
cap space.
They cleared out.
Oh,
Peter Mrazek.
Correct. But again, if you look at this, like what, okay, fair. I agree. I agree with that was dumb. I like 100%.
Again, I said
But
I'm not putting them immediately in the list. I think I'm trying to convince myself to. They're definitely in a step back, but I think it's all comes down to me that they're borderline there because of the fact that they actively pay Matt Murray starter money.
For sure. I agree that it's asinine that they do that. But what I'm saying is, if you look at the entire context of the situation, their goaltending has not gotten significantly worse. Where I'm saying, because to me, their offense, I think I don't know what their lineup looks like yet, because
But
I think
the pressure's to win. You need
but that's not
to win.
I fully understand that, but I don't think that puts them on the list, is what I'm saying. I don't think their goal. Fair, but
when you're a team that goes
but wait. I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing with you, but
I
think it automatically
Let him
inflates
Let
it.
him finish.
No, but what I'm saying is, you look at the teams currently on the list, and you're telling me that has anything to do with winning, has anything to do with why they're on the list. Or like Philadelphia's on the list because they made moves in multiple areas that absolutely made no sense. They don't know how to manage a single thing. Chicago's on there because they traded the wrong guys and they didn't keep the wrong guys. What happened here was they got rid of Peter Mrazek because they needed to. They had to. He was never ever a viable option in this city. Jack Campbell was never coming back for $5 million because, respectfully, he's not a $5 million goalie in my eyes. He's not going to play 60 games. Frederik Andersen was making $5 million here and playing 60 games multiple years. Their goaltending did not get significantly worse. Their goaltending got worse. Yes, you're massive gambles. Yes, there's a lot riding on them winning, but I don't think that justifies putting them in the list, because I don't think that's changed. I don't think that's changed over the course of 6 years. I don't think their goaltending. Okay, it's their goaltending in the last half of that. The last 3 years have been questionable. Their goaltending in the last 3 years have been questionable. Frederik Andersen, who's never been healthy. Jack Campbell, who's never been healthy. Peter Mrazek, who's never been healthy. Like, it's just, it hasn't changed.
So you mean you couldn't have gone out there and gotten, like, not you, obviously. You mean that they couldn't have gone out there and start off the tandem with Samsonov, because Samsonov is a competent goalie. But
I don't have an issue with Samsonov.
You couldn't tell me that you couldn't throw a second and a third round pick to get Georgiev, or if you really were going to
that's not. I'm sorry, but that's not significantly better. That's not like putting out
Matt Murray at how much money he's making. I think so.
Okay, no.
Not
how much? How much money does How much money does Alex Georgiev make? $3.4 million.
I will double.
So he's making $1 million less, but that doesn't clean up the situation. That's still questionable goaltending. If they sign Alex Georgiev, better again, but it's not better than what they had in years previous. Like, the thing is, if the goaltending is the biggest issue, and I agree, goaltending is a massive issue for this team. The only answer to this question, to me, and how we're talking about it, is a guy who can play 60 games. And there's like 5 of them that exist in this league, and none of them are being traded. Ever. Andrei Vasilevsky will never be traded. Igor Shesterkin will never be traded. UC Saros will never be traded.
Oh, man.
Like, there's 2 others, and I'm blank. Like, Korpisalo's never traded. The answer that we're looking for doesn't exist in this, and is not a trade option in this reality.
I just think it screams desperation. That's the only reason.
100%
I will
desperation
give
because
you
no
step
one wants
back.
to come to Canada.
May-
Like,
may
let's
I
be
will
real.
give
We
you
knew
step
that no one we all come on. We can all three admit that not many people want to come to Canada.
That's
At the
racist.
beginning of- It's a
here's my
fact. There's
thing.
articles on it.
Hold on. This is how I look at it, right? Is the Leafs look at players like Kasha. They can look at guys like Enzo Sauce, Mr. Tyler Ennis, and they know with their facilities, they can help players get over certain injuries in the past. And Matt Murray's health has always been a problem, right? That's the bet they're going on. Right?
Sure.
With a
Do
team
I-
that doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a team that has resources unlike any other. I do have them step back. I don't have them the list. I will say that. Because
I'll give them
I
step
do like
back.
I do like some of the moves they did do. Like again, I do like Abe Kubel and I like stuff like that. But yeah, I don't have them the list because I don't see them in a complete tailspin like the Flyers. I don't hate every move they make like the Blackhawks, except their coach, like the coach. And I'm not disgusted by them as I am with the Oilers. I think no one likes the Matt Murray signing. Everyone's rooting for him, and God
This is
knows the
awful.
guy's been through a lot. But it's just, it's not a great situation. But
No.
it is sort of what's out there. But I think we move on from here. But I feel like it's right to put them in step back. I don't think it's so much a disaster.
Okay.
Put them there. I'm gonna put them next to. I'm gonna put them with the Panthers and the Wild. Because I'm going to see perennial first round and playoff failures.
We'll put them there, and the first drink will be on me when Keith is fired by the winter.
And
If
we'll
Keith's
the betting
fired,
odds have
if
him,
Keith's fired by the winter, so is Brendan Shanahan and Kyle Dubas. So
and it will be great content if it does happen.
Yeah.
I can't wait. But listen, we did say I think we said they took a step back last year and then they had a better year. Again, we'll see.
They didn't.
But it's going to be great episodes of
They
the
did.
podcast talking about Matt Murray. I can't wait. The Vancouver Canucks. JT Miller gets an extension, and they bring in Ilya Mikheyev.
and that's why they're the champions of the offseason. They brought in
I
the
have them
fastest
status
player. That's why
They brought in the guy that
yeah,
outscored.
yeah, literally. They have the fastest skater in the NHL. Champions.
They're status quo for me. I don't think Mikheyev moves the needle, and I don't get the signing anyway. I don't get it. Because here's what's going to happen. Garland's going to get moved. We
Yep.
talked about that to death. And then, Mikheyev's shooting percentage is going to shoot back down because it's not a career year anymore. Remember at the beginning of the year when he wasn't scoring and we're like, here it goes. And then he just popped and it's like, okay, well, who's overpaying him? And
Literally.
it happened. My Canucks hatred is back. I just have them status quo. I don't think they're going to be better.
I'll give him status quo. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a big distraction dealing with what's going to happen. I think a big victory that they got is re-signing Bruce Boudreau, especially if you hear about the disconnect between Boudreau and management. Does that mean he can get fired in a week? Maybe. But keeping him for a guy that the team is trying to do a nice cap-friendly team-friendly deal is Brock Besser. Yeah, I think I'll keep them at status quo because, they didn't add any real tools to step them ahead. They're banking on the fact that they have a really good goaltender in Thatcher Demko, and their depth is still very weak. So,
hey, Demko brought them a few rounds deep before, and now they have a better team. So, magic happens. Alex, do you like him at status quo?
Sorry, I like him at status quo. I have the trade
Okay.
unless
do.
it's fake. 1 second. Let's go to the next team as I try to figure this out.
Okay, very good, very good. The Vegas Golden Knights. Bruce Cassidy is their new head coach. Phil Kessel is in, so is Shea Weber's contract. Going out, Dylan Coughlin, Max Pacioretty, Evgeny Dodonov for absolutely no on-ice benefit.
a first? Are you out of your mind? Oh my God, it's so dumb.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the New York Rangers are trading Nils Lundqvist to the Dallas Stars in exchange for a 2023 first-round pick. Mike, you are shaking your head. Please tell us your
It
thoughts.
says could be another component coming to New York.
Really?
That's what Larry Brooks said.
For a
There
disgruntled
better be.
prospect in a stacked for a team that
It's a 20.
that-
It's a 2020. It's a top 10 protected.
I mean,
I was gonna say
But-
listen, this is a guy who a disgruntled prospect. The Stars could be a bubble team. I mean, they limped in last year. Remember that game they blew against the Coyotes that clinched Montreal last? Like they blew it against the Coyotes. But top 10 protected. I mean, could be worse, but you have a first round pick and a pretty stacked draft for a player that just wasn't going to make your team. I mean, compared to what they got for a disgruntled guy like Elias Anderson a couple of years ago, could be worse. And Dallas, I mean, good for them. Good for them. They needed a young right D of the future.
first,
Yeah, Saravelli confirmed it.
that's pretty good. I'll take it.
That's pretty
Actually, no, you know what? You know
That is
why?
pretty
Because
good.
now, you know what? I'm just thinking, I was, for some reason, I was just thinking, I'm like, wait, they gave up a first round pick because I'm so tired. But I'm like, wait, they got a first round pick.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah,
I'll take it.
yeah.
They get now they have some ammunition for the trade deadline.
Yeah, they
I
got
will
2 first round picks
fully hundo
for Patrick Kane.
I will take it. They have 2 first round picks and they have Capo Caco ready on standby for Patrick Kane at any moment. I'm okay with it. I like it. Goodbye, Nils. I liked you a lot, but see ya.
Okay. Vegas though.
Sorry, yeah. Did you guys say the list?
I
I'm
haven't
giving the list.
Do we want to do the list? I mean, they just keep throwing away talented players for nothing.
Like, okay, Bruce Cassidy, sure, he's an upgrade over Pete DeBoer because Pete DeBoer is not good. But again, they're throwing players away, and then they did not even come close to addressing their goaltending situation. Like, you knew he's been out for a while, and you didn't go out like Logan Thompson is the starter of the Vegas Golden Knights this year.
Or it could be Michael Hutchinson.
No,
Just
no,
saying.
it's gonna be Aiden
I'm
Hill.
just
Come on.
saying, guys.
Aiden Hill and Laura Bressois.
Okay, when Michael Hutchinson wins
Like-
the jobs in preseason,
Oh, he's definitely
You-
going to play games. That's just how it works with him.
Like,
and he's going
but
to play against Toronto and get a post a shutout, guaranteed.
Like, look, I love Phil Kessel. It's great. It's good.
It's a meme that
Great.
he's there.
You get exactly. He's getting ready for his retirement World Cup of Poker. But
Exactly.
like Pacioretty and Dodonov for nothing. Nothing.
Well, Dodonov, they got a $10 million LTIR. So
Yeah, okay. But still, like
sorry, Adam.
Pacioretty and Coughlin for nothing.
Yeah.
Not to
Like
mention
their
that he-
woes just keep continue. Why do you keep like why can't you just like what happened to slow and steady wins the race? Why does
Never
every
forget,
move have to be
traded a
pulling
Vesna
the
winner
trigger?
for nothing. Also,
Like why does every move have to be pulling the trigger, pulling the trigger, pulling the trigger? We need to do this. You can't just be like, oh, let's get depth signing. Let's let this guy develop, or let's get this guy and we'll let him develop for 3 years and then we'll start contending. No. If you're not good within your first year, you're traded. Like
They
I
play
hate Vegas. I used
they-
to really like them, but I can't
Yeah.
stand them now.
Vegas runs the team like they're playing NHL 22.
like Mike?
Like I'm playing NHL
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, yeah. When you're playing GM mode. Like it's just craziness.
So the list.
Yes.
Okay, fair. I don't think we've ever had 4 guys down there. I could forget. Maybe it was 3 last time, but the Caps. Go out and get. Out.
We had 6 people on the list last year.
Really? Who were they?
We had Montreal, Chicago, San Jose, Vancouver because of the OAL trade, Calgary, and Buffalo.
We had Calgary on the list.
Yes.
Because
Why?
they choked so hard at the end of the year, maybe. I think I may have been a driving force behind that. San Jose too. Wow, we were
harsh
I think
last.
And
the
Buffalo.
Sharks got better in our minds because they're
Yeah, yeah, literally.
Holy
Mhm.
crap! Oh, that's interesting. Okay. The Caps though, both their goaltenders and Justin Schultz. Darcy Kemper comes in, Dylan Strome as well, and Eric Gustafson as a guy, and Connor Brown, which I just love that signing so much. Every time I see it, I'm like, sweet. I think it's a step forward for the Caps. Not fabulous, but I like what they did, especially knowing that we may never see Nick Backstrom again. The solutions that were out there at an affordable price, I like the bet on Dylan Strome.
To me, that's why they're at status quo.
Really? Even with Darcy Kemper? Yeah, the goaltending is what really does it, because that's what was holding them back in the playoffs.
And don't forget Charlie Lindgren.
Yes, and Charlie Lindgren. I'm happy he got the job.
I just think losing Nicholas Backstrom, and I get it, he's older now, so maybe he doesn't have the same impact, but I think that's a large player to lose on your team. And I think, yes, okay, we can call it the Moneyball approach while you're trying to use multiple players to make up for his presence, but
doesn't work in hockey.
Yeah, that too. I don't know if I'd put them as a step forward. Maybe I'm too harsh on them. I mean, that could have something to do with where I think they're going to finish at the end of the year, but like, I just think they're status quo.
Mike, you have the deciding vote.
No, I'll give them a step forward. I think, the biggest thing is not just that they got Dylan Strome, but how they were able to take advantage to get him for cheap, and how, they addressed getting Connor Brown, Kemper. At the end of the day, he may be shaky, but he's a Stanley Cup winner. And look, at the end of the day, Vitek Vanacek and Ilya Samsonov were just completely just awful last year as a tandem. And Kemper and I guess Lindgren, that's better. It sucks. It really does suck that Backstrom, his offseason hip surgery is going to be a massive concern, but I think they did as well as they could. So just for that, I'll give them a step forward.
I think that's the only legitimate time Mike and I have agreed on the same sort of split thing with Alex. So it's interesting to see. And to finish off, the Winnipeg Jets. Rick Bowness is the new coach. Blake Wheeler has been stripped of the C, which the Sharks will tell you, yeah, so what? That's normal. Remember when they chanted, there's a video going around of when they chanted to the Sharks, "Who's your captain?" after Thornton got stripped of the C, and then the people are like, so how does it feel? A lot's changed. By the way, a lot of respect for Blake Wheeler for doing media after that. I rip Blake Wheeler a lot. I had a lot of respect for him doing that. I thought that was that must have been very difficult for him. A lot of respect.
You like Mark Scheifele?
No, Scheifele sucks. Blake Wheeler, a lot's going out there. Out goes Eric Comrie, terrible asset management, and Zach Sanford, who I didn't know was there. In comes Dave Rittich and Kevin Stenlund.
Right. Where do you want to start?
I don't. They are such a mess. No one wants to be there. I have no idea where to put them. It's the lower half of the tier list, I'll tell you that. But I don't. They're not status quo. They're such a mess. They're a step backward the list.
Can I be 100% honest?
Please?
I have them on the list.
Okay.
Like for more than one reason. Like let's start with you completely and it's nothing like it's just a rough situation. You missed out on Barry Trotz. You had him.
Oh God!
You had him for a second, and you lost Barry Trotz. That's like the lowest reason on my list. Then you have the dysfunction of that room, which is multiple people's fault. Like I don't even want to say I don't even want to put it just on Blake Wheeler. It is on multiple people's that it is the way it is. And because of that, you have what's going on with Pierre-Luc Dubois, which I just think I think Calgary got a lot of pushback for how things went with Tkachuk, and there was a lot of comments made about Calgary. Don't see, and maybe because Winnipeg gets picked on a lot, but no one was going there with Winnipeg. I think they handled it in such a poor manner. Trade him. Like, that doesn't have to be to Montreal. I get it. That's where he wants to go, but he does not want to be there despite what he says publicly. Sorry. I just don't believe it.
Mike?
I'm willing to list them as well. I mean, okay, sure. They have a star-studded lineup on paper. at the end of the day, Blake Wheeler, Mark Scheifele, Nikolai Ehlers, Pierre-Luc Dubois, that is a team that should be winning games, but they're not.
Mhm.
Not to mention that dinosaurs went extinct 65 million years ago, and now they're back on the bench with Rick Bowness as the official head coach of the Winnipeg Jets. They're just the only thing they managed to do was manage to get a qualifying offer done for Dubois. But other than that, you could see he's disheveled, and that's all without mentioning the fact that their team is just internally wrecked. So, I mean, how do you salvage that? I do not know. And yeah, of course. How do I not mention that they whiffed out on Barry Trotz and things?
That's tough.
So, yeah, their
So,
list.
the list: the Oilers, the Blackhawks, the Flyers, the Golden Knights, and the Jets. Step back: the Blues, the Sharks, the Avs, Tampa, Florida, Toronto, Minnesota, Arizona. Status quo: the Canucks, the Penguins, Montreal, Rangers, Anaheim, Buffalo, Dallas, New Jersey, the Islanders. Step forward: the Capitals, the Kraken, the Kings, the Preds, Carolina, Boston. Fabulous. And one of these four will be your third champions of the offseason: the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Detroit Red Wings, the Calgary Flames, and the Ottawa Senators. Okay, Alex and Mike, I'm going to ask you to do something, please. I would like both of you to text me, like,
Oh my
Zoom
God. Why
thing.
don't we just say it? We did this
Because
last year.
Mike, it's our podcast. Follow the rules. So go to Zoom, go to the chat thing, and just make sure it's being sent just to me. I want some dramatics here. Don't judge me. I'm very excited for
Are
having
you going
this.
to be able to read it, or is it going to be on the screen, or are you going to
No,
read
no,
it?
I already sent it to him. He can't read it.
Okay, good. All right. Well, Mike, I am waiting to hear who your champion of the offseason is. I am very excited to see, because Alex has sent me his. Okay, Mike, if you could just, did he leave?
Nope, he's still
Did you not see what I said?
Oh, I can't. I saw it. Okay, can you send it for real, please, instead of texting me saying I'm ugly? Thanks, Mike. Okay, wow. So I'll say this: my vote
Unanimous
was
decision.
no, actually.
Interesting.
Well, one of us didn't say this team. I said I said Ottawa in my head. But both of you said Calgary. So the Calgary Flames have been crowned our champions of the offseason.
2023 Stanley Cup champions. You heard it here first.
There they are. There it is. Alex, throw this on the Twitter and the TikTok, especially the TikTok. I cannot wait to see. Maybe start the clip here. These are, of course, complete facts. Nothing is wrong here. We are taking no questions at this time. And we apologize for nothing. If you are one of these fans and you are personally offended, we do not care. Especially if you are from Western Canada. Of course. I'm kidding.
Look, I will say that again. It came very close for me, at least. It was very close for me because I love the Sens. You know me.
Yeah.
And
Sens
Sens
fans
Army.
by day. Yeah.
Sens Army.
Sends
But-
by day, flames by night.
There they are. Do people
But-
watching us agree? Do they not? Let us know.
But it's all just because, again, of that one. If they were able to acquire a big name defenseman, obviously Jacob Chitrin's the name, but if they acquired a legitimate top 2 defenseman, then it would have been the perfect offseason, and I would have crowned them champions immediately. But
Good.
Look, again, the whole guy manages to save his franchise despite having no leverage thing kind of works really in the favor for Calgary. So got to do it.
All right. Well, we have the thumbnail already, don't we? Technically, so that's good. Very easy.
You want to
gentlemen?
take a screenshot and send that to me
Yeah, I'll do that right
when
now.
you're done. When you're done after that episode.
I'm already on.
All
Still,
right.
gentlemen, you may hear the sound of it, but that's fine. Any closing? Oh, I didn't do it properly.
You
Oh God.
deleted it.
Any closing remarks, gentlemen?
It's gonna be an interesting season.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Sorry, Mike.
Okay.
What did you say there? You cut out. And I spoke over you.
Axios.
Ax, yeah, Bonnie Ross. Shout out. Okay, Alex, I'm sending in the group chat. One of our group chats. Anyway, thank you all for listening. I always love doing this episode. It's always really fun. It's up there with the 201 Podcast Award Show. Prestige and Honor is one of my favorite shows of the year. Mike, thank you for coming on. Always fun.
Thank you for having me. Invoice in the mail.
I'll
What?
send it to UFT.
Oh, the check. Okay. All right. Well, we will see you all soon. We'll figure it out. Okay. Bye.